The screen of my phone glows in the dim evening light as I hold it up for Margaret to see. Her face goes white. The smugness drains from her features like water from a broken dam. Behind her, my 6-year-old daughter Emma clutches her stuffed rabbit, confusion written across her tear-streaked face. "You can't do this to me," Margaret whispers, her voice shaking. "I'm family." I don't move the phone. The video plays on a loop. Her own voice echoes from the speaker, crystal clear. "Mommy doesn't live here anymore, children. Grandma's in charge now." 5 minutes, I say quietly. "Pack your bags. You have 5 minutes." Hey everyone, if you're enjoying this story so far, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Also, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I love hearing from viewers all around the world. 2 hours earlier, I had arrived home from my nursing shift at the hospital. The key wouldn't turn in the lock. I tried again, thinking maybe the mechanism was stiff. Nothing. I checked the address, wondering if exhaustion was playing tricks on my mind. No, this was definitely my house. The same blue shutters I had painted last spring. The same flower bed where Emma and I planted sunflowers. Margaret opened the door. My mother-in-law stood there in my doorway, wearing an apron I had never seen before. Her grey hair was pulled back in a severe bun. She looked me up and down like I was a stranger selling something she didn't want. "Oh, Sarah," she said, not stepping aside. "You're early." "Early for what?" "This is my house, Margaret." "Well, not exactly." She crossed her arms. "The children are having dinner. You can visit them on weekends if you'd like." My heart stopped. Visit them? Those are my children. Where's David? David is working late. The children need stability, dear. You work such long hours, and with your difficulties. Well, someone responsible needs to be here. Difficulties. The word hit like a slap. 6 months ago, I had struggled with postpartum depression after our youngest, Tommy, was born. I had gotten help. I had recovered. I was stronger now than I had ever been. "Let me in, Margaret." She shook her head. "I've changed the locks. For security reasons." Through the window, I could see Emma and Tommy at the kitchen table. Emma was picking at her food, her little shoulders slumped. Tommy, only 10 months old, was banging his spoon against his high chair tray. They looked smaller somehow. Lost. My hands trembled as I pulled out my phone. Not to call David, though that would come later. Not to call the police, though I could have. I scrolled to a specific app, one I had installed 3 weeks ago when Margaret first started making comments about my fitness as a mother. The notification was there, just as I expected. Motion detected. Recording available. Margaret was still blocking the doorway when I held up the screen. "You need to see this." The video was timestamped from this afternoon, 3:47 p.m. Margaret's voice came through clearly. "Now children, while Mommy is at work, we need to have a serious talk. Mommy doesn't live here anymore. Grandma's in charge now." Emma's voice, small and frightened, "But this is Mommy's house." "Not anymore, sweetheart. Mommy has problems. She can't take care of you properly. But don't worry, Grandma will keep you safe." Tommy started crying in the background. On the video, Margaret's voice grew sharper. "Stop that crying, Thomas. Big boys don't cry like babies." I swiped to the next recording. This one showed Margaret going through my bedroom, opening drawers, removing family photos from the nightstand. She packed my clothes into garbage bags and carried them to the garage. "The neighbor's security cameras caught you throwing my belongings in the trash," I said, showing her the third video. Mrs. Henderson from next door had installed a comprehensive system last year after break-ins in the neighborhood. The footage showed Margaret dragging black bags to the curb, muttering to herself. Margaret's face had gone from white to gray. "Sarah, you don't understand. I was trying to help." Help by telling my children their mother doesn't live here anymore? Help by changing my locks? Help by throwing away my things? "You work too much. You're never here. The children need." The children need their mother, not their grandmother playing house with their lives. I swiped to another screen. This is a recording of your phone call to David this morning. You know, when you told him I had abandoned the family. The call where you said I was having another breakdown and couldn't be trusted with the children. Margaret's eyes widened. She hadn't known about the app that automatically records all incoming calls to the house phone. David had installed it months ago to document harassment from telemarketers, never thinking it would capture his own mother's lies. I was worried about you, Sarah. After what happened before. What happened before was postpartum depression. A medical condition. One I got treatment for. One I recovered from. My voice stayed level, but inside, rage burned like a furnace. What you did today was manipulation. Emotional abuse of my children. And attempted theft of my home. Emma appeared behind Margaret, having escaped from the kitchen. Mommy. Her voice was so small. I knelt down, keeping the phone screen visible to Margaret. Hi, sweetheart. Mommy's home. Grandma said you went away. She said you didn't want to live with us anymore. Grandma was wrong, baby. This is our home. Yours and mine and Tommy's and Daddy's. No one else gets to decide who lives here. Margaret tried one more time. Sarah, be reasonable. I'm just concerned about the children's well-being. You have to admit, your schedule is demanding and I'm an excellent mother who works hard to provide for my family. I stood up, Emma's hand in mine. But if you're genuinely concerned about anyone's well-being, you should watch this. The next video was from the kitchen camera. It showed Margaret roughly handling Tommy when he wouldn't stop crying, yanking him from his high chair with unnecessary force. It showed her yelling at Emma when the child asked for the third time when Mommy was coming home. You were so busy playing house, you forgot about the security system David installed last month. Margaret's shoulders sagged. The fight went out of her like air from a punctured balloon. Now, I said, you have 5 minutes to pack your things and leave my house. The locks will be changed back tonight. If you want to see the children again, you'll do it on our terms, with respect for me as their mother. She opened her mouth to argue, then closed it. The evidence was overwhelming. Her own words, her own actions, all captured in high definition. If you're enjoying this story and want to see how this all plays out, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. The ending is going to surprise you. I stepped into my own home, Emma still holding my hand. The house felt different. Colder. Margaret had rearranged furniture, moved pictures, changed small things that made the space feel less like ours. "Mommy, are you really staying?" Emma asked. "Yes, sweetheart. This is our home. No one can make Mommy leave." Tommy was still in his high chair, his face red from crying. I lifted him into my arms, and he immediately calmed, nestling against my shoulder. Some bonds can't be broken by manipulation or lies. Margaret reappeared with a suitcase. Her movements were sharp, angry. "This isn't over, Sarah." "Yes, it is." I held up my phone again. "I have documentation of everything you've done today. The illegal lock change, the emotional manipulation of my children, the destruction of my property. If you ever try something like this again, I'll file charges for harassment, breaking and entering, and child endangerment." She paused at the door. "David will hear about this. David will see every video, every recording, every piece of evidence of what you did to his children today." I kept my voice calm, but firm. "And then you can explain to him why you thought it was acceptable to traumatize his daughter and son to satisfy your own need for control." The door slammed behind her. Emma looked up at me. "Is Grandma mad at us?" "No, honey. Grandma made some very bad choices today. But that's not your fault or Tommy's fault. That's something Grandma needs to fix about herself." I spent the next hour undoing Margaret's changes. I moved furniture back to where it belonged. I retrieved our family photos from the boxes she had hidden in the closet. I found my clothes in the garage and brought them back inside. Emma helped, her little hands carrying small items back to their proper places. She was quiet, processing what had happened. Every few minutes, she would look at me as if checking that I was still really there. David came home at 8 o'clock. I heard his key in the lock and realized Margaret hadn't told him about changing it. She had given him the new key, making him complicit in locking me out of my own home without his knowledge. "Sarah." He looked surprised to see me. "Mom said you had decided to stay at your sister's for a while. She said you needed some space." I handed him my phone. "Your mother lied to you. Watch these videos. All of them." His face changed as he watched. Confusion first, then disbelief, then anger. When he got to the recording of Margaret telling the children I didn't live there anymore, his hands shook. "She told me you had called her, asking for help with the kids because you were overwhelmed," he said quietly. "She said you wanted her to stay for a few days while you got your head together." I never called her. I never asked for help. I came home from work to find my own mother-in-law had changed my locks and was telling our children I had abandoned them. David watched the video of Margaret roughly handling Tommy. His jaw clenched. "I'm calling her right now." "Don't." I put my hand on his arm. "Let her think about what she's done. Let her decide if she wants to be part of this family or if she wants to keep trying to destroy it." We put the children to bed together that night. Emma needed extra reassurance that I would still be there in the morning. Tommy clung to me during his bedtime routine, as if sensing the disruption in his small world. After they were asleep, David and I sat on the couch. The house felt like ours again, but the day had left invisible scars. "I'm so sorry," he said. "I should have questioned her story. I should have called you. She's your mother. She exploited that trust." I leaned against his shoulder. "But this can't happen again, David. Ever. The children can't be used as weapons in whatever battle your mother thinks she's fighting with me. It won't happen again. I promise." The next morning, Margaret called. David answered on speakerphone. "David, darling, I hope you've had time to think about what happened yesterday. Your wife was completely unreasonable. I was only trying to help." "Mom." His voice was flat. "I've seen the videos." Silence. "You told my children their mother didn't live here anymore. You changed the locks on their house. You threw Sarah's belongings in the trash." David, you don't understand the full situation. I understand that you traumatized my children and violated my wife's rights in her own home. I understand that you lied to me about Sarah asking for help. She needs help, David. She's not stable. Stop. His voice cut through her words like a blade. Sarah is an excellent mother and a dedicated wife. She recovered from postpartum depression months ago with proper medical care and therapy. What you did yesterday wasn't concern. It was cruelty. More silence. If you want to be part of this family, you need to apologize to Sarah and to the children. You need to respect our home and our decisions as parents. If you can't do that, then we don't have anything more to discuss. Margaret hung up without a word. What do you think about how this situation was handled? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one and love hearing your perspectives on these stories. 3 weeks later, Margaret sent a letter. Not an apology, but a justification. She wrote about her concerns for the children's welfare, her belief that I was an unfit mother, her conviction that she had acted in their best interests. David read it once and put it in the shredder. She's chosen her path, he said. Now we choose ours. Emma asked about Grandma a few times in the following weeks. We told her that sometimes adults make choices that hurt people they love, and when that happens, there have to be consequences. Will Grandma ever say sorry? She asked. Maybe someday, I answered. But whether she does or not, you are loved and safe and wanted here in your own home. The security cameras stayed up. The documentation of that day remained safely stored in multiple locations. Not because I expected Margaret to try again, but because some betrayals teach you the value of being prepared. Months later, I still work my nursing shifts at the hospital. I still come home tired sometimes, still juggle the demands of career and motherhood like millions of other women. The difference is that now I know exactly how much I'm worth fighting for. My children know their mother didn't abandon them. They know this is their home, and no one can take that away from them. They know that sometimes you have to stand up for what's right, even when it's hard. And they know that love isn't about control or manipulation. It's about respect, trust, and the unshakable commitment to protect what matters most. Margaret never apologized. She never acknowledged what she had done to Emma and Tommy that day. But her silence became its own kind of answer, and we learned to build our family's strength from that honesty rather than her lies. Some battles are worth fighting, especially when the prize is the safety and security of your children. Sometimes the most powerful weapon you can carry is simply the truth, captured in crystal clear detail and delivered with quiet, unshakable confidence. Because at the end of the day, no one gets to decide where you belong except you. And no one gets to rewrite your children's story except the people who love them most.